And were there additional texts associated with that conversation?
Yes.
Are we seeing those on the next slide?
There's a series, the next few slides, I believe.
Okay. If you could, what's the next date and time of that text in this series of communication between Chad and Lori?
July 14th of 2019.
Could you read the text into the record, please?
Yes. Line 2962 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. Good morning, my most beautiful Lily. Thanks for joining me in the shower this morning. Wow. Getting ready to leave for my meetings. Does noon your time look like a time we could talk? I love you so immensely that the whole universe knows it, and very soon the people on this little blue globe will know it too. Line 2961. Morning, sunshine. Sure. Call me if you get a chance. And that's from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell.
And let's move to I believe this is the rest of the series.
It is the rest of the series, but then it gets into also another aspect of the iCloud accounts.
Okay. If we could finish this series and then we'll go back and finish this aspect, is that okay?
Okay.
Okay.
So the last in the series would be 2935 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. I love you so much. You are my greatest desire and my best friend. Now on with the story.
Okay. So turning back to what began with the series, why did you include this series of text communications from Chad and to Lori and vice versa?
I included this due to the reference that Chad Daybell stated, I feel she will be gone by then. And then at the end, I believe that's why the Lord hinted I might not get to be with you until that is over.
What relevance did it have in terms of your review of the iCloud and the evidence overall?
The reference to Tammy Daybell being gone and the ability for Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow to be together at a future point.
I'm going to object to speculation and ask that it be stricken.
I'll sustain that.
So following up on that, had you seen previous texts and communications or heard from witnesses that Chad Daybell had told people Tammy Daybell was going to die?
From witnesses that were interviewed, yes, we heard repeatedly that Chad Daybell had told numerous persons that Tammy Daybell
Objection, that's hearsay, Judge.
That's a... Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. If you want to argue in response to the...
Oh, thank you. Your Honor, this is part of the relevance of a summary of an agent. It has to be viewed in context of the evidence overall. We aren't authoring the statement that Tammy was going to die for the truth that the person said it. What we're doing is to put this text and this communication in conversation, in context, put this communication in context of what the co-conspirators are discussing. And so while defense counsel's argument is that it's speculation, in context of his knowledge, his experience, his analysis, his looking at all of the iClouds, it's not speculation.
Well, it was hearsay was the specific objection lodged.
Well, and, Your Honor, it's a statement of a co-conspirator.
Okay.
In furtherance of conspiracy.
Well,
Okay,
go ahead, Mr.
go ahead.
Thomas.
I guess I'm just saying, I'm saying what he's saying is that the information that he got from other people that Tammy was going to die is hearsay. That was his response.
No, that wasn't his response, Your Honor.
All right, counsel, I'm going to sustain the objection. You can ask another question, Ms. Smith.
Okay. Had you learned from the review of iCloud and information that Chad Daybell told people that Chad, in his own words, said that Tammy was going to die?
Yes.
Okay. And knowing that information, did that put this text and SMS message in context?
Yes.
Okay. There's also a line that says, please ask about that. What, if any, significance did that line have to you?
During the course of the communications, there were several times where Chad and Lori would ask one another to seek confirmation of a specific plan or event that may take place in the future.
And so in this is an example where Chad is asking Lori's advice.
He's asking her to ask about what he's just laid out.
Okay. The next in that series has a line, "Good morning, my most beautiful Lily." What, if any, significance did that line have to you?
Both Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow had multiple names that they used for one another. Chad was known as Chad Daybell, Raphael, and James. Lori Vallow was known as Lily and Elena.
So they would call each other these names in between various texts.
Yes, for the most part, Lily was used very frequently by Chad Daybell in reference to Lori Vallow.
Okay. And is this discussion of "thanks for joining me in this shower this morning" evidence that Lori was physically with Chad?
No.
Objection, that's calling for speculation.
Sustained.
Do you know or have information on July 14th, 2019 at 7:42 in the morning whether Lori Vallow was physically with Chad Daybell?
She was not. She was in Arizona.
Okay. And looking at this text, is it uncommon between the two that they would imply they had been with each other when physically that was impossible?
That's correct.
Is there any other reason of significance to you why you included this particular part of the text string?
The reference by Chad Daybell that soon the people on this little blue globe will know how much he loved Lori Vallow.
Okay. Why was that significant?
It's directly relevant to their relationship with one another and their plans together in the future.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I think he's making a conclusion that's best made by the jury itself, not by a witness.
All right, well, the objection's not timely, so overruled.
Thank you.
All right. Now, turning to sort of the end of this line of text communication, you indicated, "I love you so much. You are my greatest desire and best friend." Now, on with the story. What did that mean?
In the iCloud, in the SMS section as well as the email section, there is a story authored by Chad Daybell entitled "The James and Elena Story." It is partly accurately historical as to real events, and it is partly fantasy. And so this is a segment that Chad Daybell sent to Lori Vallow on July 14th of 2019 that contains a part of this James and Elena story.
And you, in your summary, didn't include the whole story of James and Elena.
No, I did not. Why did you pick portions? I picked those portions that I felt were illustrative of how Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow met and some of the significant events that occurred early on in their relationship that were journaled or chronicled by Chad Daybell.
Okay. And so these portions had relevance in terms of timing on when he sent them?
Not so much on timing of when he sent them versus the contents.
Okay. And but these were sent. This one, that I believe we're seeing one of those texts on line 2933 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow on July 14th, 2019.
Correct.
Less than 3 days after her husband died.
Correct.
Okay. Could you please read that into the record?
Yes. Line 2933, text from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. They would both attend the same event in mid-November, and it seemed like that day would never arrive. Each day they opened their hearts to each other a little more. James knew he could trust her with the mysteries of the universe that had been revealed to him. He knew they had been married before, and they had been close friends with the Savior when he lived in Jerusalem. James had served in an important position in the Lord's church, and Elena had been his beloved spouse and best friend. That relationship was now meant to continue in this lifetime.
And did that text exchange between Lori and Chad continue?
Yes.
And that was at July 14th at 3:05. The next one.
Correct.
Okay. Could you please read that one into the record?
Yes, line 2930. Text from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. As James and Elena talked on the phone, he tried to delicately describe their connection to each other, and he was delighted that she believed him. He also shared that they had been married at other times on a previous world, and she accepted that information as well. James was overjoyed to have these memories restored to him because he truly loved her with all of his heart. He knew they were meant to be married again and complete important missions together before the second coming. He was ecstatic that she was receiving confirmation of these things as well. As they talked on the phone, the spiritual connection was so intense that it also produced physical desires, and it was as if their spirits were making love despite the great distance between them. James knew his spirit was visiting her during those occasions. He also became aware...
Objection misstates the actual text.
It was misread.
I'm sorry, what did I misread?
If you want to just start again at James knew his spirit, we don't need to start all over again.
All right. James knew his spirit was visiting her during those conversations. He also became aware that his spirit would visit her at night, and they would wrap around each other in a sensual embrace. Kissing her was so wonderful and real, and he knew that the next time they saw each other, he needed to kiss her. He wouldn't be able to resist holding her. He was absolutely in love with her in every way.
Why did you include those fraction of the James and Elena story in your summary?
I included those because of the insight they give into the way in which Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow met and how their relationship began.
Turning to the next lines in Law&Crime, line 2915 from July 14th, 2019. Could you please read what's included in slide 13?
Yes. Line 2915, text from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. Hanging in there, but really missing you too. Please find out the name of Mel's campout in Utah. I have no intention of going, but I feel it is our avenue to get together, whether she is still here or not. Line 2914, from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. Zion's family camp. Mel speaks Wednesday night and Dave speaks Thursday night. Shelley M. is their main speaker. I roll. Line 2913, from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. Well, that should work for me to get away, though. I spoke at it 2 years ago, which is when I first met Mel. What time do you fly out tomorrow? Line 2913, from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. My trip to speak at the camp, July 24th through 26th, has been approved and is now on the calendar.
Why did you include that series of text between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow in your summary?
During the course of the investigation, we discovered travel that Chad Daybell undertook July 24th through the 26th, where he flew to Arizona to visit Lori Vallow. This is the story that he came up with to justify his travel.
Did their texting continue on that 14th?
It did.
Can you please identify in reading the record what is contained on slide 14?
Line 2889 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. I need so badly to just gently kiss you for hours. Line 2888 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. It would likely lead to other activities. Line 2887 from Lori Vallow to Chad Daybell. Likely or luckily. Line 2886 from Chad Daybell to Lori Vallow. It would luckily lead to nakedness.
So this text exchange between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow occurred on July 14th around 8:30 at night.
Correct.
Okay, and that's of 2019.
Yes.
Okay. Just about 3 days after Charles Vallow was killed.
Correct.
Can you please identify in reading the record what's in the chat section of Lori for Style on line 2127?
Yes, this is a continuation of the chat between Lori Vallow, Cole Vallow, and Zach Vallow on July 15th, 2019. Okay, Lori, it's been 3 days. You let us know our father passed away over a text message. 3 days, and we haven't heard from anyone. The only information we have is that one text from you saying he passed away. You disappeared after that. We need any information you have. What happened? When did it happen? How did it happen? Where is he now? Are there any funeral plans? And can Zach and I be part of it? We talk to him all the time, and now he's gone. He was our dad, and we loved him very much. We deserve answers. Also, why have you been the only one to contact us? We haven't heard from Colby or Tylee. I know they are affected too. I called Colby recently too, but he didn't answer. Is JJ safe, and what does he know? I need to be kept in the loop about this all. This isn't a nonchalant topic you can just throw a text at and be done with it.
Why did you include this particular chat from Lori for Style in your summary?
Mainly just to show the communication between her and Charles Vallow's children, and the fact that she did not communicate what had taken place.
Okay. And so she had communicated on July 12th with them about their father dying?
Correct.
Did you find evidence that she gave them any information in the text that you saw from July 12th to July 14th about what happened to their father?
No.
But the text that we saw between her and Melanie Boudreau and her and Chad had occurred in that intervening period?
Correct.
In that intervening period, did you see any evidence in her text communication with people of sorrow or regret or remorse over Charles Vallow's death?
Objection, it's not relevant.
Sorrow, remorse,
Speculative.
sorrow, remorse, and regret are consciousness of guilt and are highly relevant to a defendant's state of mind.
It's moved to strike, and it's also speculative.
Yeah, okay, first, no speaking objections or responses, please. So the objection is overruled.
In the text messaging and the account that you saw of Lori Vallow from the time she notified Charles Vallow's sons on July 12th of his death to the time that Charles Vallow's sons reached out on July 15th, did you find any evidence or evidence of remorse, regret, or sorrow in the defendant's communications with anyone?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. I believe that's the jury's province to decide that.
Overruled.
None.